My people, what I know. We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
I'm Bell.
My name is Prentice.
And we rolling, y'all. My guys, it's great to see y'all. Bell and I just returning back from a great weekend out seeing the homie getting married and all that. Love is in the air and all that good stuff. Your boy felt it was a beautiful weekend, beautiful wedding. I feel good. P, Bellhead, go ahead. You check in. What was the weekend like for you? You was in the wedding. I just showed up.
It was dope, man. I don't know to our listeners out there who's ever been to a Nigerian wedding, but it's an experience. You know, it's an amazing experience. I've never been, and I was fortunate to be in it. You know, so shout out to a Sunday occasion, Sky of Sunday, Wheel Sunday. It was nice, man. It was dope. I got my traditional African garb on, you know what I'm saying? Had my then in the Western wedding, I traditional tux. But it was dope. I had Nigerian food for the first time. Never experienced that. Learned a Nigerian word, siwu, which means celebration. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a call and response. You know, you say siwu, siwu, you know, but it was dope, man. It was a real good time. I saw a bunch of my teammates who I hadn't seen in a long time. Shout out to UConn football team. It was cool, man, seeing them. It was a good time, man. It was, you know, I drank a lot, I ate a lot. Like it was dope. It was an amazing experience. They really left no stone unturned, you know. So the weekend was dope. Then, you know, come back to reality. The normal pressures of life all coming down at one time. So just trying to get caught up and get back to it. Get ready for some more travel coming up soon.
Word. P.
Yeah, man.
For those of y'all who obviously don't know because you weren't there, but we had an episode where P, we had to talk before we started recording. He going through some things. We don't want to put that all out right now, but we good. He out of jail. He good.
Yeah, I ain't locked up, but I'll say this, man. Today I wanted to beat up some little kids, some middle schoolers, man. I'm not going to, y'all. Don't worry. I'm not going to, but I'm at a phase right now with my two boys. They're dealing with bullying, and that's a whole different arena nowadays in school. So it's challenging me to not be my regular self with adults because I can't pop off and behave the same way. So I'm in the middle of some definite, I don't even know what to call it, man. Like just, I got to figure out how to handle this situation that I'm not used to, like a parent and not like a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because everything me wants to handle like a nigga.
It's a thin line. It is a thin line.
I'm saying it's thin, but I mean, other than that, I'm good. But it's been, you know, this weekend and this last couple of days has been definitely challenging for me, man.
I saw a meme recently, P, and this is something like one of the biggest struggles I have is when the old me and my new me start to beef about how to handle a situation.
Listen, man,
that's real.
That's real. It wasn't even the old me and the new me beefing. It was Sarai being like, "Don't do that," and Justice being like, "Don't do that." That's like shit about the old me.
Your mind was made up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was already tapped in, ready to go, man. But you know, I can't fuck up no little kids.
That's what's up, man. Everything's good in my world, like I said, man. Come back from the wedding, I feel good. My daughter had to get sent home, but she got close contact with somebody with the monkey, so we got to keep an eye on her and see what's going on. But she said she feels good and all that. My boy's sick right now, so that's all right. My oldest is tripping.
Regular sick?
Yeah, no, he's regular sick. My oldest is tripping. Told him no. He's bad. You don't care about me, man. We're gonna talk about that on another episode. You talk all this good stuff on the podcast. When it comes to your own son, you don't be. I'm like, yo, man.
Oh, he's trying to hit you with that one.
Yeah, man. So you know, when you that age, you see it your way, and then when the adult try to tell you, you don't really see it. It'll click for him at some point. But he got some valid points. But he got some valid points. When you hear no, he can't handle it. You know what I'm saying?
But you also got a way of saying no. I don't feel like you say no normal. You be like, no. Like, and that
bark that shit.
No, it's just so long story short, I think it happened where he he misplaced his social security card or whatever. He's trying to get his permit or whatever. And he had set the appointment up, but didn't have his stuff. So because he didn't have his stuff, he couldn't do it. So he missed out on, he lost like $60 in the appointment. I'm like, hey, bro, it happens sometimes. He's like, could you pay for it? No. Could you pay for my next one? No. Well, you promised me you would a long time ago. I did, but you blew that opportunity a while ago for doing some dumb shit or whatever. So then he just went in and I'm just like, oh man. So we got into it for a while. Then like, yo, stop talking to me. Go get your grades up. Leave me alone. So we'll talk about that. It might get him or let him tell his truth, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But outside of that, man, everything's cool.
He went back to school yet?
Yeah, he's back in school now. He's back in school doing his thing.
That's what's up.
Yeah. What crazy part is one thing he was, it's tough for him. He's like, I think I want to do something else. I'm like, you got a choice, but just know this is what everybody predicted would happen with you. Everybody's surprised you made it this far. And he was
because he completed 1 year, right? Or
first semester. Second semester, spring semester, right. Freshman year. So he's like, nah. That struck a nerve with him. He's like, nah, I'm about to finish this. I'm about to do this. I'm like, whatever, that reverse psychology worked on him one time. So we win it.
Yeah, until he hear this.
Right. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. He know what he got to do. Nevertheless,
You check his grades yet?
He on academic probation right now.
That's, so was I, right? My first
Who was it?
He's like, he got plenty of time, man. Plenty of time.
Anyways, he gonna figure it out. He better figure it out. So let's jump right into it, fellas. So this episode, we decided we were going to dig into the emails and text messages and comments and posts. We should have did the comments. It was a couple of those.
Yeah,
but
we can address them some other time. It's not a lot of them.
So there's some feedback we got from a bunch of people inquiring with questions. We select only a few of them. There's a lot more to go to, but just know we're gonna do our best to get to them. I think we're gonna make this like a monthly thing where one of the episodes we're gonna spend addressing the comments or questions of our viewers. So we appreciate y'all support. Shoot us an email so we can holler at it. Bellhead, you got the first topic. What was it about?
Yeah, we just got this. Well, I don't know when it was sent, but we read it over the weekend. But someone reached out to us who we're not going to mention any names, but we'll address these questions and we'll reach out to you individually, let you know we addressed it so you can listen into the episode. But yeah, we got a question that was right up my alley, right? Which was this brother is working in inner city school system, so it sounds, and basically feels underappreciated, and right. Feels underappreciated, and he's heard me talk, about my journey a little bit, and he wants some perspective. He's at a crossroads in his career, and he feels that he basically wants to know when it's right to make a move, if it's right to make a move, and it sounds like he was asking for my perspective. So here's what I'll say to that. This is very cliche, right? This is very cliche. So let me just preface it by that. If you're doing what you love, right, you'll find a way to make it what you need it to be potentially, whether it's the same school, whether it's, the same industry, whatever, right? No matter what the job is, if you love it, right? If you love it, you can always find a way to make it what you need it to be, right? Now that may not come for some time, right? But that's that. The other thing is, this is very contradictory. I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, but just bear with me. The other thing is, just because you love it doesn't mean that you have to be married to it, right? Forever. And I'm gonna tell you, like somebody told me, because I too used to work in the school system, and Chief and I were partners, and when I was a dean, and one of my mentors told me, it's like, Bell, don't be naive and think that you're the only person that can help these kids, right? He said, there's always going to be another you, right? In some form or some capacity. He's like, but you're the only person who can help your family, right? So I was torn in my decision because I felt like I was letting my community down, right? The person who helped me literally make it through life, my old basketball coach, rest in peace, Marco Villa, he basically, I was like his, at that point, like his life's work, right? Like I was a knucklehead kid getting arrested, all that gangs, all that stupid stuff. And then he helped me, he mentored me, and then he got me to where he was, right? Which is all I ever wanted. But as I started to mature and learn, I realized that, you know, I was confined to what I saw around me. Mm-hmm. Right. So the most I ever saw for myself is where my coach got me, my late coach got me. It wasn't until I surrounded myself with other people that I saw that there was more out there, you know, and that's how I was able to take the leap, because I found, for me, right, it may be different for you, but for me, I'll never forget this. The turning point for me was when I was on the fence. They sent out this memo to us, or mailed it, or I don't know, put it in our mailbox. I'm not sure exactly how we got it, but basically it showed us our pay for the next 20 years. And obviously at some point it was going over 6 figures. So that was cool to see. But when I saw how long, I'm like, well, how you know I'm gonna be worth that much in X amount of years? Right. What if I'm worth that much next year? You know? And what I realized was, if I got any better or any worse, as long as I kept my job, I was gonna get paid the same as everybody else. Mm-hmm. So for me, there was no incentive. So my advice to you, good brother, is if teaching is your passion, right, and that's all you ever sought out to do, find a way to make it work, right? Because it's probably not many jobs more rewarding than that. Right. What I'll also say is, you know, those skills are transferable. You can go with the same amount of effort that you go every day and more than likely get paid double, right, in a different industry. So it's a matter of what's important to you, right? Because what I'll also tell you is you're gonna reach a point of no return. Mm-hmm. You get to a point, you're not gonna leave. Even though you know it's the right thing, you won't do it. So if you are feeling that way, my advice is pull the trigger, bro. You can always go back and teach, right? So there's never going to be an overabundance of minority teachers. Ever. So
black men represent 2% of the population. 2.
Oh, you can go try it, man. Try it. Take your licks. You know, learn a lot, because God knows when I left. Listen, man, my house went into foreclosure, right? Like I took my licks, bro.
No, definitely did. But to piggyback on that, though, I think, like you said, if he's something he's passionate about, there's ways to make it work. I mean, think about going into administration. Administration plays good, especially for a black male administrator in any building somewhere. You know what I'm saying? They play pretty well. Or collegiate type thing. You know what I'm saying? It might require, you know, a little bit of student loans, get some more education up under your belt. Got to get this bullshit paperwork for people. You got to have a piece of paper that says you're capable of doing what you do, but the money will eventually be there. I believe this person said they just had a baby or something like that too, right? So it was a lot about finances too, trying to get his money right. I'm kind of in that similar boat right now, where I'm on the fence of pulling the trigger. But I think what's also kept me there too is that I didn't have that confinement, in a sense of I still have my poetry taking me all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So
kind of the best of both worlds,
right? Kind of the best of both worlds. My poetry is literally taking me overseas and whatnot. And I was able to garner those experiences. I'm still doing it, you know, celebrate moments with my guys, going to the West Coast just to hang out with my man for the weekend, see my guys, though, like that stuff, you know, I'm able to do that because of the poetry and because of, you know, having the liberty to doing what I do. So like my man said, just, you know, find out what it is that works for you. And then if you got to pull the trigger, pull it. You can always go back. Like you said, there's never a shortage of black male educators.
I said, you do it, bro. Like,
I would. I know the last paycheck I had, I was teaching. That was 4 years ago. You know what I mean? And it was a decision that I made because prior to that, I was working with the top 2% most troubled teams for like 7 years in Santa Clara County. Severe behavioral disorders, all in foster care, group care, all trauma, all day, every day. Trauma, all day, every day. So I would say assess how much you're being fed through that profession, man. And how you're being fed. And I had to decide that and you mentioned being an educator is like one of the most rewarding positions you can do, but it's also one of the most draining. You know what I'm saying? And depending on where you're working, it changes the dynamics of the kids. So the energy that you have to surround yourself with, all that shit dictates your life and how you feel about yourself. So if you're not feeling up to par about what you're doing now, like Bell said, like dip, and you can always go back. You know, they love Black teachers, Black educators. We always will get hired. Always. That's a guarantee. So if there's something else you want to do, explore that shit and do it, especially if this ain't freaking
In the infamous words of my man, Prentice Eugene Powell, do it.
Hey, I'm saying, do that shit, man.
Yo,
I'm
let's
probably
keep
the
the
wrong
party
person
rolling, yo.
nowadays to ask shit like this, though, because I'd be like, nigga, jump. Do it. To everybody all the time. That's like
That's
my
what I'm gonna call the
motto
episode.
now.
Nigga, jump.
Just jump, nigga. Fuck the rope. Jump.
So next topic, fellas. My man, let's try to keep, quick on it real quick. My man says his wife is in a serious depression over the loss of her father, and he's struggling on how to best support her. I sent him a response to it, and I think I'm not sure if you guys are how close you are with loss, but loss hits different when it happens very, very close to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got cousins and aunts, whatever you might have been close, but when it's like mom, dad, brother, somebody real close to you, the feeling is very, very different. So I'm certain it's weighing on his wife something crazy. I will say for me, when I was going through my moment, I found a book, and it was the 5 stages of grief. And it basically explained the process of going through it. And it helped me identify where I was at in the particular. I think the first phase is like denial. Like we just don't believe it happens. I remember riding with you, Bell, and like just being like, nah, they told me he passed, like he's good. Like we all right, we going to the hospital. Nah, he good. Even when I saw him, I didn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't believe it. I got back in the car, I was like, I just didn't believe it. And then there's anger, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Those are the 5 steps. And you go through all those. And when I think I was in my depression phase, heavy in it, when I read it and I got to realize, like, because it fills you with an anger you just never experienced before. So I was able to identify what phase I was in, and it kind of helped me progress through it, because it fed me like someone somewhere knew exactly how I was feeling. Because when you're in that moment, you feel like no one really knows. They empathize, they sympathize, but they don't really know what that shit feels like. So as much as you can empathize, you don't know what your lady feels, what she's really feeling. Just support her the best you can. Sometimes you don't gotta say nothing, but get her onto those five stages of grief, and it might help.
Well,
help.
Also,
understand.
he should also read that.
Right.
So he can have a deeper understanding. And yeah, there's no silver bullet for that. Unfortunately, you like Chief said, just be there. Encourage therapy, right? Encourage therapy, because what I'll also say is it's very difficult to coach your spouse.
Yeah.
Right. So educate yourself with that book. I think that's a great idea. Suggest it to her. She may or may not take you up on it. Suggest therapy. She may or may not take you up on it. But you educate yourself, and then you identify, her, right? You identify the best ways that you can be there and support her. But that would be my suggestion.
A quick gem I want to add to that, though, is be mindful of the language you use. And I'll say this. I remember going through it, and people would always ask me how I was doing. And it's genuine concern on their part, but people going through that, it's like the worst thing we can hear. So for me, how you holding up kind of had a little bit more like concern.
Or how are you feeling?
How are you holding up? Kind of was like, how you feeling was kind of like, even then it's kind of feels like, how do you think I'm feeling? Like how you holding up means like, I understand you're down, but how bad is it hitting you? Kind of, you know what I'm saying? It comes across a little bit different when I ask how you holding up versus how you feel, how you doing, or how you feel.
Yeah. When people, they would always call me in my company during the George Floyd thing, when George Floyd was murdered on camera, I wouldn't say, I told them, like, they were asking what they can do for the other people in the Black community. Like, first stop by saying, how are you doing? Right? We're not doing well. Right? Now, the reason why I said feeling is because there's a range of emotion that can be happening. Right? So ask people how they're feeling and see what you can do to help support. Right? If it's anger, right? If it's sadness, if it's depression. So how you holding up? How you feeling? All of that works. Right? They're not doing well. Right? Like, that's understood. So that's redundant to ask. So yeah, educate yourself and just learn the language, to Chief's point.
I'd be curious to know, like, what is your challenge specifically with your wife? You know what I mean? Like, with who he's supporting, like, where does he feel the struggle is coming in?
From what I can remember in the email, he's like, she's just become cold and distant, and, like, you know what I'm saying, she's not talking. Like, it sounds like to me like she's in her depression phase right now.
Right. And sometimes we want to save somebody we care about so bad that we base our success on their healing. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you do that, you set yourself up for disappointment and failure because it's not on your clock. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So sometimes you may want to help somebody out and be like, fuck, I'm failing. Nothing's working. Nothing's working because they haven't reached the stage where what you have to offer, they can receive in a way that's going to heal them. You know what I'm saying?
Good point, P.
So sometimes you got to remember that shit. Like, it's you want to heal them real bad, but it's on their clock. So you kind of got to ask questions if you can. They become cold and distant. Pop in and out where you can. Maybe suggest some type of therapy or look into some things. But just remember that it's her clock. So don't beat yourself up too hard by the fact that she's not doing better and you've tried 25 different things and none of them have worked.
Right. Sometimes that presence just alone makes all the difference. I wouldn't even let these cats really talk to me about it. I was like, you'll just be there and just, you know what I mean, remind me to try to be strong. And that was enough for me. Just knowing I could look around. When I'm telling you, the ceremony services, I looked, one shoulder was belled, other shoulder was off everywhere I went. And it just felt, it was enough for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes just being there means more than anything. But
you talking about
my brother, yeah. So P, you didn't get you've been limited on talks. I'm gonna put this one right at you. Woman emails and says, I'm gonna read the email because it was kind of deep, but it says, I would like to know if y'all have spoken on masturbation. What would you tell your sons? I'm having a conversation with my husband right now. I feel at this day and age, kids need to know their body, what they like and dislike. Some boys start at the age 12. What would the conversation look like between a father and son? There is taboo around milking the prostate, though I feel it's a conversation that needs to be had. My husband isn't comfortable with it, though he says he'll do some research. I talk with my daughters openly and freely about masturbation. Is it different for fathers and sons? Thoughts?
Chief, what your dad tell you?
I'll slap you.
But so I'm actively in this phase. Actively in this phase. Okay, so one, let's keep it all the way 100, man. We had to pick up a Victoria's Secret magazine. We had to find some Home and Garden, some not Home and Garden. I don't know why the fuck I said that. I ain't never. What is going on? Nigga, I saw a sexy ass rake in that Home and Garden, nigga.
Oh nah, man.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so much more accessible to him now. Yeah. So, you know, I had a situation, man, I don't even want to do it to him. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it to him on the podcast. What I'm going to say is this. I think it's important to realize that we've all been there. You know what I mean? Yeah. We've all been in that phase. And what I told my 13-year-old is this. I get it, homie. I was a problem at 13. I was an absolute fucking problem at 13 with masturbating. It was on my 13th birthday. It's the first, you know, I'm telling too much. I'll tell this shit. Check it. But the first time I masturbated was on my 13th birthday. I had fractured my ankle 2 weeks prior to that. I don't know why, but I went in mom's bathroom, and all she had in there was some gold mousse.
What?
You know mousse. Like,
mousse.
It was gold though, man. So
yo. Prentice, you know what I thought you was gonna say? I thought you was gonna say she had pink lotion. Like, man, you might have got a stress fracture messing around with pink lotion.
Thick ass that lusters.
It was in there with
Hey, look,
calamine.
my pubic hairs would have had a mean ass curl to them though, but my shit would have been nice.
Yo, that
But
pink
look,
lotion was everything but, man.
and I
Shit.
told him this story, and this was an ice-breaking story when we first had this conversation. He knows this story. I told him when I was 13, I went into the bathroom. My mom had some gold mousse, and it took a long time for me to handle my biz, but I handled it. Once I discovered it, it was nonstop. That mousse was gone the next day. Fast forward, but I also told him, like, yo, I went through a can of gold mousse in like 48 hours. My dick was also gold for like 3 weeks, my nigga. It took a long ass time for my shit not to be gold. So when I'm gonna tell you, son, don't use no coloring shit. Get you some lotion, some Vaseline, whatever you gotta do. Just don't use nothing with. Hey, stop laughing. I see you right there. Look, he looking right now. I told you this story, and he over here laughing and shit.
Because you put him on Front Street in front of the world.
No, I put myself on.
He put himself on, yeah.
And he's just laughing about it right now. But yo, I told him, like, look, it's natural. It's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted him to know about cleanliness. You know what I'm saying? That shit is important because you got siblings, you got other people around. There's nothing wrong with it. But how accessible it is for kids nowadays is a thing that kind of gets me to navigate through because there's situation. I'm not gonna put you on blast. You can go to your room. It's fine. Go ahead. I'm not gonna put him on blast like that. He's sitting over there watching me like, don't say it. But I'm not. Don't trip. But it really just was a conversation. Like I wanted to tell off top, like, yo, I get it. Like first and foremost, nothing's wrong with you at all. I totally get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Shout out to you, Prentice. First and foremost, shout out to you, man, for obviously having a child of age to have that conversation and then having it, you know, because, man, I already know my little man he already be grabbing his work. Like, my man we give him the rag in the bathtub, first place he go is to his work, man. I already know he's gonna be a little problem, so I gotta have that conversation too.
I appreciate your story, people. What do you say, Belle? What do you say to her husband in regards to having a conversation with his son?
Exactly what he just did.
Okay.
Just, you know, like it's like any conversation that you have that there could be like tension or whatever conflict, you want to relate to them, right? Okay, I understand what you're going through. I once was boom, 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 right? So that would be my advice, and I haven't had the conversation yet. But I'm gonna take a page out of Prentice's book if I'm being 100% honest, right? I'm gonna relate back to the time I almost set the house on fire, spending too much time in the bathroom, had some hot dogs on the stove and forgot. You know what I'm saying? I was like 12. Yeah, man. So I know, you know. So I'll probably tell him that story, and then, like you said, man, just talk to him about, like, at the end of the day, that's the birds and the bees conversation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know,
that's
they
all
know
part
everything.
Yeah, so I'm,
you know what I mean?
I'm actually, not actually, but I'm like, when do I start? My daughter got a period last month. She's 10. You know what I'm saying? And typically around that, when that happens, you're supposed to start introducing that conversation. But because she's 10, I'm like, maybe I'll wait till she's 13 and we start really, maybe when she start middle school.
Now you gonna have it, or you gonna have it? What, you gonna have her mom have it?
I'm gonna have it as well. I'm gonna encourage her mom to have a conversation, but I'm gonna have it with her just because, you know, you could put your daughter on the game. You know what I'm saying? These little thirsty ass boys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
I'll break it down, you know, about that, and then just the whole process of it all. I remember being taught to put a condom on a banana in like 6th grade or something like that. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So
my man's mom, shout out to Miss Val. When we was young, and she must have had a premonition. She knew I was fast.
I was about to say the exact. She knew you was fast.
Yeah. My grandmother used to say, "Boy, so man, she stank." Yeah. Exactly. Because she worked for like some type of health organization or whatever. She stayed giving us condoms. You know what I'm saying? And because nobody really had that conversation with me. I think my dad tried one day, and I just don't think we ever got there. But you know, they're gonna learn one way or the other, like you said, Prentice.
Right.
It's a lot of access,
They
and
are
even more access than when we were their age. So,
and because of that, you can't hold them to whatever jack off standards you had in the 90s or 2000s. You just can't, because it's too accessible. You know, they be on threads, they be on all these shit.
Said jack off standard.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Let's keep it real. There's some code of ethics when it comes to jacking off when you was a kid. Man. So you can't
beat your meat methodology.
You know what I'm saying? 101.
Standards like there's a bar.
right.
Like,
Levels to
jack
this
off
shit.
more than
It's the pink lotion and then it's baby oil.
And then there's golden mousse for motherfuckers like me. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways,
Oh my God.
keeping the party going. Bellhead, we go to this one. So brother was struggling with sibling issues, difference in age of 17 years between him and his sister. And he felt like she was making his wedding date more about her than himself, or the availability. I don't know what the issue was, but it sounded like the date didn't work for her. And she was like, you need to change it because I can't be there or whatever, or something like that. So you know, you've had some struggle with the wedding. P, you got one coming up. Maybe we can, tap on that real quick.
Listen here, man. So I had a destination wedding. And initially I was against it. My wife convinced me that this is what we should do. And she had good reasoning for it. One, she said the wedding is only one night. I want to be with my friends longer. And two, she was like, you just know too many goddamn people, right? So we can't afford a 400-person wedding. So I was like, all right, cool. So boom, you make it inconvenient for people by it being a destination, and then it's out of the country. So I learned very quickly, man, that people will make any situation about themselves, right? And that's what it was. And when I say people make any situation about themselves, there were people I was paying for to come, right? Hotel, everything like that. And they had the nerve to complain. It's like, you're not even paying for this. And you complain, well, why would you have it in Mexico? You know, if you have it in Mexico, this person can't go, right? I'm like, I get it, right? Everybody, this is what I was saying. And my cousin just dealt with the same thing. He got married in July in Mexico. He dealt with the same thing. And it hits hard, man, when, you know, unfortunately, people can make things about themselves so much that they may not even show up to the wedding, right? What I realized through that process is anybody who's getting married, especially destination, I tell them the same thing. Be prepared, right? Be prepared. You're going to find out who people really are, right? You're going to find out who people really are, you know, and I brought it up in the last episode, you know, one of my closest friends, right? Grew up in the sandbox together. We stopped talking after my wedding and didn't speak for 3 years, right? Because he made it about him, you know, instead of just being, and granted, he's come around, he understands now why he shouldn't have did that and why it was wrong, right? But some people never will, right? You may leave that planning process with less close relationships than you walked in it with, you know? But I'll tell you, no matter what, you do what makes sense for you and your wife to be, period. Because at the end of the day, it's you and her that's paying for it. It's you and her's moment, right? And it's more often than not, she's going to be there after those people, more often than not. So that's what I would do, because you're not going to be able to please everybody. So you do what you want, and you make sure you have the time of your life, and in the absence of whoever made it about them so much that they're not gonna show up. So that would be my advice. But I know it too well, man. I dealt with it. I definitely dealt with it.
Yeah, I feel I feel similar. I know for me, I think I touched on this maybe a week or two ago, and I think I said it simply, like, I knew my dad wasn't gonna be having invites to the wedding, and I eventually knew that my mother wasn't gonna get an invite either because she removed herself, right? So that was my struggle with just making sure I was okay with that. And once I realized that I'm really okay with that, it made creating my list so fucking easy. So fucking easy. Like, if I can come to the space where my mom, who's been a part of my life, and we, she not gonna be there, I don't give a fuck about none of the rest of y'all. Like, in that sense, as far as like struggling or being stressed out about who's gonna be at my wedding. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be people, mostly the people that are gonna be there for me are people I'm not related to by blood, on my behalf. So for me, it's been cake, and it's been easy for me to just remove anything bad or toxic. So, I would say exactly what Bell said. It's not about your sister. Straight up. It's not about your sister and about your mama, your daddy. It ain't about nobody.
Nobody.
So if you have to hurt somebody's feelings, like for instance, our wedding venue, you have to be vaccinated because it's in Frisco. We get married at the Westin. You got to be vaccinated. They need a card for you to get in the tent. Not everybody is down with getting vaccinated. Cool. You just won't be at the wedding.
Not my concern.
Yeah, and it's not no ill shit. These are the criteria for my wedding. If you can't meet them, no hard feelings. Oh shit! Who ain't vaccinated?
Chief ass.
Who?
Chief.
Oh nigga, what? You're marrying me, bud. Oh nigga. Oh shit.
Hey,
Are you
better
for
look
real?
for a backup plan.
Nigga. Bud, I ain't even asked you, nigga. I just oh shit.
Better look for a backup plan.
All right, we're gonna make you a fake card or some shit, because you gotta marry me now.
If I gotta get vaccinated for you, P.
Nah, but we'll make a fake card.
I gotta get vaccinated for you, P. I'll get vaccinated.
I'm not gonna ask you to do that shit, but you
Anyway.
marry my ass.
Nigga. To get vaccinated anyway.
Listen.
Wait, last thing to my man.
Okay.
Listen, man, everybody that's supposed to be there will be there.
Everybody's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that. That was gonna be. You took my little gem on it. I ain't married and never been married, so I ain't had to plan nothing yet. But I know this: everybody who's supposed to be there will be there. You know what I'm saying?
It will. And like you said, man, I think it's real interesting when it becomes about other people and their joy. And you said like creating a list, you'll see who really rock with you and who don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing how you can discover more about people through your moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, through your joy and your happiness, you can see some shit in people that you ain't never even seen before.
We got 2 more left, fellas, for this episode.
Let's do it.
Woman emailed us. She said she believes strongly her man is suffering from PTSD, but she can't convince him to speak to someone. I suggest the easiest way. You found us. Put him on to us. Find an episode you think, one of our episodes that he can connect with.
We got an episode called PTSD.
Boom. I think it's like episode 2, maybe.
It's early.
It's PTSD. Early. And have him listen to that. Maybe that'll just, we believe we are, a podcast for the people, just some, not every day, but around the way dudes. Mm-hmm. Just trying to help brothers like us step into the light of therapy, man. And if he can, if he can find something in the podcast that he connects to, maybe it'll open his eyes to a little bit, and then he can, get to therapy. Maybe try going with him to therapy.
Definitely. And also, first things first, you talk to him, right? Not necessarily as a therapist or even as having a solution. Just listen, because sometimes, and I'll speak for myself, when I started going to therapy, for me, it was just hearing myself. Because you got to think, some of the things we feel, we never say aloud.
Yep.
Right? Like, they just may be festering in us, but we don't say it aloud. So when we say it aloud, it then becomes real. Right? Now, regardless if there's action behind it or not, just the fact, like I was telling my therapist stuff that I needed, for lack of a better term, answers to, because I'm like, why am I like this? Right? And she's like what? Now it's boom, just go start spilling my guts on all these feelings that I've had, and a lot of it is based on childhood. And I would imagine that's where some of his PTSD comes from to a degree, obviously, unless he was in the military and all of that. But that's what, just listen. Like, that's what I would do. And then obviously everything Chief said.
Yeah, and also remember too, it goes back to like the first question. You obviously is your husband, so you're gonna care and fight for him tooth and nail. However, he has to want to, in a sense, a little more than he does now. So maybe the motivation isn't getting him to talk to somebody, but figuring out how to make him a little bit more receptive to assistance. You know what I mean? And maybe it's not therapy, because a lot of us brothers, man, we hear therapy, we like, nigga, therapy, what? So maybe it's our language too, that we use. You would know your husband better than we would, obviously, and most people, but maybe it's about grooming him to be receptive to new train of thought or ideas that may assist him, to lead him to eventually therapy. Because I kind of feel like if he's like me anyway, you got to kind of get there to the idea of actual therapy. You know what I mean?
Or even asking for help, though, P. Like, we just don't ask for help. You know what I'm saying? We don't. That ain't something we're accustomed to doing. We'll
and if we do, it come out. It don't come out like, when I need help, I need to go to therapy. It's not that type of help.
It's like, yeah, bro, come hoop with me today. I need to get this off my chest. Let's go hoop and forget about it. You know what I'm saying? That's how.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You better come get me. I'm about to kill her ass. You better come pick me up right now, nigga.
Right. So last one, fellas, and this one was interesting to me because I didn't quite understand what it was. He said he was a transracial adoptee, and I'm like, I didn't really understand what that was. But he said he was struggling with finding himself, and by transracial he meant he's a black man who was adopted by a white family and doesn't have previous connection to his roots. So he's having, huh?
How does that make you transracial? Because you
transracial adoptee. I guess that's the whole phrase. A transracial adoptee. I guess that's when you get adopted by a family that's not from your original culture. I don't know. I've never, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Nevertheless, he's a transracial adoptee, and he said he was struggling with trying to figure out, who he is, because he doesn't have any connection to his roots, and he lacks the foundation of individuals to help and maybe understand his plight. So what could we? He said he might be interested in therapy too. So what could we throw at this brother?
Wait, what was his question?
It was basically helping him. How does he navigate towards finding himself and his purpose?
I think I wonder, and this is maybe a follow-up. I wonder how he identifies personally.
Boom.
How he identifies, right? As in, he put African American, adopted into a white Caucasian family.
No, I understand ethnically, but personally, right? Like, I have, and this isn't his situation, but I have friends who are biracial, and they lean one way or the other, right? I'm just curious, right? Like, I don't know. I'm curious how he identifies. I would imagine he identifies as, like, personally, he feels he's a black man and more connected potentially to black culture, I would imagine. I don't know, but obviously that's why he's reaching out. So what I would say is, and this is, and I actually wouldn't be opposed to even talking to him, because I'm very curious.
Remember, I suggested that to we can get him on, so maybe we'll get this brother on and we can have this conversation.
Yeah, I'm very curious, because that's different, man. That's different, and depending where you grew up, right? Like, you could be with a white family, but if you're with a white family in Compton, you're gonna be black people gonna be all around you, so you're gonna be assimilated one way or the other. But if you adopted by a white family and you grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut, I don't know how much culture you're gonna receive, right? And it sounds like that may be his challenge, right? He's not connected to his culture. I mean, maybe, and this is just a suggestion, maybe look for his adopted parents and not even necessarily like his parents, but like their family. Learn where he came from. Ancestry.com too.
On some Antoine Fisher type shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, just to know, right? Like, just to know who your parents were, because this is just like, this is us in Randall, right? Like, that's where I would start, right? And the challenge, though, So when you start digging,
Right.
you may not like what you find.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Within yourself and what you find through your actions, right? Through discovery.
You fuck
You
around.
know, so
your birth parents lived across the street your whole life. You know what I'm saying? And just never said nothing to you. That some shit like that. Yeah.
right. Or you can find out that, you know, you can find out a lot of stuff about yourself that may answer some questions, right? That you have, especially if you can find someone to speak to from that family. And again, it doesn't have to be your mom or your dad, maybe your aunt or uncle, you know, your biological mom or dad.
Watch
and then once you get that information, man, find out who you want to be. All right, that's all that matters. Your color of the skin don't matter, man. It's like obviously we know it matters in the grand scheme of things, but in terms of you personally, right? Like, who do you want to identify as? What's your purpose? Right. That's the last part I would say. Find your purpose.
I feel like it's hard for me to answer that because even though you say like, you know, in the grand scheme of things, color doesn't matter. It matters like a motherfucker to me.
No, I said in the grand scheme of things, it does matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It does. And, you know, I find it challenging to respond to because I have that identity. You know what I mean? Like, I know my identity as a Black man. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't imagine being one, but struggling with that whole dynamic of who am I? So I don't know. I probably like suggest if you can, because again, I can't imagine the struggle with it on the ethnic line, but if you can focus more on the things that make you who you are, you know what I'm saying? Like those things that you're into, the things that kind of shape you, you know, who you are, and also decide who you want to be and really work towards that. And maybe you'll get some answers in the process. Like I know I'm doing that right now. I have a very, very specific template and blueprint for who I want to be over the next 3 years. And so I'm tailoring my life and my activities to become more of that man. So maybe in the process of you know, kind of defining yourself as a man for the next 5 to 6 years and what you got to do to become that man, you know, maybe you'll get some answers and be less pressed about other areas of your identity that you don't have answers for.
So if I may, I'm gonna recommend another book, you know. So book is called All About Me by Philip Keel. I was given this book by my sister. I met my sister when I was 31, right? And the book is basically a question and answer booklet that I'm supposed to fill out. It's 82 pages of questions from what's your favorite color to boats or planes, you know, red or blue, to what's your deepest fear, to if you could pick 2 people to be your parents who weren't your parents, who would they be? You know what I'm saying? And so it's a real deep book, but it goes into it's very generic, but it goes into some real deep stuff. And I think you should buy this book, bro. Fill it out. And I think it'll help you learn a lot about yourself. Like it's a lot of questions here that make you really sit back and go, damn, like I never thought about that. I never thought I had to answer that. And it really challenge you to like dig deep into who you are and then go back and just kind of read it and learn about yourself. And this is the book you could also give to. I was supposed to fill it out. She filled it out. We give it to each other and learn about each other. But we just left it blank, asked each other questions and went through, you know what I'm saying? Learned about each other that way. But it's a really, really, really dope book. And I think it'll really help you identify some things about yourself you may not have been aware of. Cool deal right there. Yo, I think that was dope, fellas. I'm not gonna front. I really for me, I really dug this episode, yo. I feel like we tapped into the people a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? It took us off our norm, kind of from what we normally do, and just got to be able to answer some questions. I thought it was cool. I thought it was real.
Yeah, you realize you say that after every episode, right?
I like with y'all. I mean, what you want me to say? I fuck with my guys. I feel good after I talk to my homies. I mean, shit.
No, I'm not saying
you're not on next week. Stay home.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
you make me feel good, nigga.
You're not on the episode next week. We cutting you out.
You said it like, yeah, I normally don't say this, but I actually feel good about this one. So you say it every week, but this one was about y'all.
I'm gonna mute your microphone next week.
This one was about y'all, like, you know, our supporters, and we appreciate you, you know, more than you know, and yeah, I think we should do this once a month at minimum, you know, and then even potentially getting some folks on to discuss some of their challenges, you know. Like I said, guys, we're not therapists. We just like y'all, right? We got we may have a different perspective or a different viewpoint, right? That could be helpful. That's all.
For sure. P, final thought.
Shit. Breathe. Just remember to breathe through whatever it is you're going through, whether it's good or bad. Remember to breathe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually like that because I probably can do that a little bit more.
I know I got you right now. Breathe and smoke weed.
Man, the weed part, I'm gonna just go to sleep. That's why I don't smoke it. But no, I like breathe. I like compartmentalize. Right? That's something that helps me. Sometimes I'll have all these plates in the air. Excuse me. All these plates in the air, and you can get overwhelmed with all these things that are up there. But if you pull one down at a time and address it, and then get rid of it, right? And just do it like that. I'm gonna just handle this, boom. I'm gonna handle this, right? As opposed to like, I got all these things I gotta figure out. And that's actually more advice for myself tonight, but hopefully y'all can benefit from it too.
So for me, I think it's final thought would be, don't be afraid to ask for help or seek others' opinions, the people you trust, or just, someone you value their opinion on. I think these people reached out to us for a reason. Hopefully we provided some good insight, and they can, grow and be better people from it. So don't be afraid to ask and lean on others for support. That work?
That works.
So,
Word up. So per usual, y'all, we on all social media outlets at All Black Men Need Therapy. Hit us up at allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com. Leave us some comments on our YouTube page, on the podcasting app, whatever one you use. And we're going to keep doing what we do. We got some good news.
I don't even think we can say it anymore.
Yo, it's been like how many episodes, yo? Like 5 episodes we've been talking about it?
I don't even
like,
think we can say it anymore.
Good news.
Yeah, just not even, just forget it. Just forget about this. We haven't mentioned it, guys.
But it's coming. Anyways, per usual, y'all, do us all a favor and hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
Do it.
We out, y'all.
Peace.